Echo Tonight, today. While not necessarily breaking news, the launch of Forspoken from Square Enix has been nothing short of a trash fire. A game that was hyped up, one of the first proper PlayStation 5 titles we would get to see with our own eyes as consumers, launched in a pitiful state. We had hoped to remain optimistic about the game here at Echo Tonight today, and requested a game key from a press campaign. Just like all others, we were shot down, with no explanation. As such, it is our journalistic duty to investigate why we were not provided a key. Suffice it to say, where there once was optimism, now pessimism. If we end up burning some bridges tonight by showing the facts and discourse regarding Forspoken's poor launch, then so be it. The viewers need to know what's happening, and what alternatives that they can seek in its place. Generally speaking, press outlets get keys for games no more than a month ahead of release, usually 1 to 2 weeks ahead of release, just long enough to get a fluff piece out with some positive commentary and a rough overview of the game. It's a known fact that access journalists in the video game industry tend to play only a fraction of the game they're reviewing. This has gotten so bad that in my past personal experience writing for a gaming website, I often received written guides for games from the companies providing the keys. This was especially true with Telltale games, which would often come with a list of clear instructions for puzzle solutions in order to get through the game faster within the allotted time window prior to release. When it's 1 week out from a game's release and you don't have the code, you worry. 3 days out, you panic. If the game's out and you still don't have a key, then there's only one eventuality. The game is dead on arrival, and the publisher is on damage control. Metro, the free newspaper you often find stuffed between the seats on sweaty, overcrowded trains, didn't get their review copy of Forspoken. The last time it happened for them with a game of this scale was Borderlands 3. Which was a case of the publisher predicting that news outlets would not cover the game favourably. Metro had been given access to a hands-on demonstration of Forspoken in December of last year, from which they ended up writing an article full of issues and concerns, stating, "This is not currently among our most anticipated games of 2023. No surprise Square Enix didn't relinquish them a key. Having an opinion is not allowed. Follow the mantra, or you don't get to eat." And it wasn't just Metro that didn't receive keys. Video Games Chronicle did not receive a review copy of Forspoken either. Again, they too mentioned that this was an extremely rare occurrence for them. While they didn't care to comment on what not receiving a code meant, their feeling the need to mention that they weren't given a key, and the infrequency of this happening, speaks volumes, doesn't it? Windows Central did not receive a key either, nor did Force Gaming, a social media influencer with close to 1 million subscribers. Here you go, my dude, have one more. RPG Site didn't receive a key either, and neither did The Escapist. In Nick Calandra of Escapist's tweet, there are some interesting replies, both of which I fully agree with, pointing out how the game's lack of reviews and Square Enix's recent behaviour may be perceived. The Forbes article about the lack of PC reviews is a good read, briefly going into the game's horrendous requirements in order to run, and criticising the game's demo as bland, boring, ugly, with dreary and dull combat, and cringe dialogue. The best part of this article is when author Eric Kane says that a 68 out of 100 feels too high for this game. Now, these common criticisms of the game that I've seen were addressed by Kotaku. I know, right? Of all outlets, they did some journalism for a change. Back in December of 2021. You know, when Forspoken was due for a release in May of 2022? Remember that? No? Even then, Square Enix appeared to be making excuses regarding the game's quality. Don't worry, the game will look better and feel amazing. Don't worry, we're adjusting the frequency of protagonist Frey opening her mouth and saying something cringe. Both common criticisms I've seen levied at the full game. The cringe dialogue can be turned down to a minimal setting, something that I'm sure many players will appreciate, but it must be fairly well hidden if a news website, Jewel Shockers, felt the need to post an article about how to find it. So those who wanted to get the game and give their unbiased thoughts, ourselves included, were refused access. And now, Even criticizing this game at all has gone the way of Ghostbusters 2016. It has become a matter of identity politics, as one might have predicted.
Head for a dozen years reeling I'd be better off dead. Lyrics pondered, wondered, tied forever into my brain matter.
The Steam forums are awash with bans against those who speak up against the game for its lack of quality. Meanwhile, posts like these, not really sure of their authenticity, are more cringe than phrase New Yorker dialogue. I agree with this person. Nice work, chuds. The poor souls in damage control mode, like Square Jason here, are being paid to defend something they know is a train wreck. I can't imagine that's a lot of fun. The point is, Square Enix wants people to buy this game without knowing its current state. They're minimizing the amount of press outlets that get codes. They're skipping the press outlets that cover predominantly PC releases, and they even struck down a Twitch streamer for streaming the game, even though the game had officially released within their time zone. You didn't deserve this, GTA men. He commented, "It smells like damage control." And we, at Echo Tonight Today, agree. While I don't agree with the combative nature of posts like this one, we cannot deny that they hold some truth. I can't vouch for how many poles the guy smokes though. Is that like a saying or an idiom or something? Right, okay. My producer tells me that this user stated that Square Jason performs fellatio. We can neither confirm or deny the sexual interests of Square Jason, nor do we care to know. Granted, a game having poor performance isn't necessarily strange in the modern day. I'm not excusing it, but Pokemon Scarlet and Violet launched in a pitiful state, and yet still managed to be engaging, fun, and interesting. I've seen few people saying these things about Forspoken, if at all. Even after all this damage control, if you're dead set on getting the game, then go ahead. We wanted to remain optimistic as well. I mean, look at it! It actually looks like it might be fun. Maybe after a few updates, it might even have a few more of the prominent technical hitches ironed out. A bug in purchase? Or to pad out a 3-for-2 pre-owned game? This is probably worth grabbing. We just wish we could have given you proper, unbiased hands-on impressions. From a perspective of optimism and finding the joy in things. We would have been the right people to give a key. We thought Balan Wonderworld was kinda good. Our threshold for what we find enjoyable is very low here. But as for now, having been refused a key and seeing the PR disaster that was Forspoken's launch, we at Echo Tonight Today recommend saving your money. Forspoken has released in a poor state. The consumer has been denied proper, unbiased opinions on the game. And the publisher wants you to pay $64.99 for a game that won't even run on your PC. You could grab the Digital Deluxe Edition, but act fast. You don't want to miss that massive saving of 0% off. We're being sarcastic, by the way. I hear Hi-Fi Rush is pretty good. Oh, what's that? Xbox bias here at Echo Tonight Today? Yeah, totally. That explains why I was staying up last night to finish off the Platinum Trophy for Miles Morales. You want a non-Xbox recommendation? Dead Space is out tomorrow. It has a completely new ending for people who played the original game but want something new and fresh. It's not $64.99 either. Wait, what do you mean that's the normal price for a game now? What the fuck? We're just looking out for the consumer here. If the publisher has zero faith in their product, and it's dead on arrival, then you should avoid it. This has been Echo Tonight Today, an Escape Route British production. Oh my god, I can't believe the fucking state they released this in. Fucking hell. Echo Tonight
Oh my god.
Today.